The 121st Psalm. Appreciate that offertory. That was beautiful. Thank you, Kevin. Let us stand as I read the entire chapter. 8 verses. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. You may be seated. The week after Christmas is always somewhat of a letdown, isn't it? Christmas demands so much, and then after all the Christmas affair, it's over with. And there's a sigh of relief, but I think also it takes, it does me, it takes a while to kind of gather my thoughts and say, well, now what? Where do we go from here? And then I'm reminded that after Christmas and after Thanksgiving, a month before, now coming to the first of the year, it's time to get back to just living our ordinary lives. Ordinary for the most part, not altogether, because now there are bills to pay from Christmas. There are a few extra pounds to work off. And some unknown author put it this way, I think kind of sums it up. 'Twas the week after Christmas, and all through the house, nothing would fit me, not even a blouse. The cookies I'd nibble, the eggnog I'd taste, at the holiday parties had gone to my waist. When I got on the scales, there arose such a number, when I walked to the store, less walk than a lumber. I'd remember the marvelous meals I'd prepared, the gravies and sauces and beef nicely reared, the bread and the cheese, and the way I'd never said, no thank you please. As I dressed myself in my husband's old shirt and prepared once again to do battle with dirt, I said to myself, as only I can, you can't spend a winter disguised as a man. So away with the last of the sour cream dip, get rid of the fruitcake, every cracker and chip. Every last bit of food that I like must be vanished. I won't have a cookie, not even a lick. I'll only chew on a long celery stick. I won't have hot biscuits or cornbread or pie. I'll munch on a carrot and quietly cry. I'm hungry, I'm lonesome, and life is a bore, but isn't that what January is for? Unable to giggle, no longer a riot, Happy New Year to all, and to all a good diet. Kind of picked on the ladies here, didn't we? But it's the same with me. I think we're all somewhat guilty of that. That's why health clubs are so busy. Did you know that in January? And have you noticed since Christmas Day, all of the advertisements, we've been watching a lot of the good movies on the Hallmark Channel. I'm not a movie watcher, but I think I watched 3 movies since Christmas on the Hallmark Channel. And a lot of the advertisements are, join, I don't know what you call it, where you get all this food and you go on a diet. But there's a lot of emphasis on that right now. Wonder how Joseph and Mary felt after Christmas Day. You ever stop to think about that? The shepherds were gone. The wise men and the angels were no longer singing. all of the amazing events that took place there in Bethlehem are over, and now it's time for Joseph and Mary and the baby Jesus to go back to just living ordinary lives. The gospel gives us somewhat of a picture, all of the gospels, as to what happened in their ordinary lives after Christmas Day, but we don't have a complete picture. We don't know for sure all that took place. We can only surmise. If we go to the Gospel of Mark, Mark tells us nothing of the birth of Christ. He opens his book with the coming of John the Baptist from the wilderness. Matthew tells us of Mary and Joseph's sudden journey to Egypt to escape Herod's deadly wrath. Luke tells another story, the story of Mary and Joseph taking Jesus to the temple to be consecrated. And then Luke tells us about the adventure at the temple when Jesus was 12 years of age. But after that, even Luke falls silent. And we don't know what happened in those in-between years until Jesus is 30 and ready to begin his ministry. Well, for one thing, Mary and Joseph and Jesus went on with their lives after Christmas. And so are we. We will go on with our lives. We will cautiously step into the year 209. It seems like it was just yesterday that we were facing the year 2000 and wondering if we would turn that corner without something drastically happening, mainly with the computer systems. But Mary and Joseph, after the great events at Bethlehem, went back to their ordinary lives. They were part of a working class people. They weren't the prestigious people in their society. They were, for the most part, considered to be poor and part of the citizens of that occupied land. Joseph had a trade. He was a carpenter, and they got by. But I venture to say, like your family and my family, they just simply got by. Life's not easy for most people. How many of you here today would consider yourselves just to be ordinary individuals, ordinary people? How many of you here today consider your lives to be boring? How many of you are excited about your life? All right. No, I hope you're not bored. But you know, the Bible doesn't tell us a lot about Jesus during his teenage years and so on. We do know that he was the oldest in the family. He had brothers and sisters, but he was the oldest. And so we assume that as he began to grow, that he probably accepted a lot of adult responsibilities. And maybe this was why he didn't begin his ministry. I'm just surmising until he was 30 years of age. He was helping to take care of the family. But that was important. That's important for us to know that he probably did that. Because the Bible tells us that he went through everything that we as ordinary people go through. He had to experience the human scene. And any problem that you and I face today, I'm certain that Jesus faced those same problems as he was growing up. So even though portions of their lives are not recorded, and his life are not recorded in the scripture, we do know that after Bethlehem, and kind of the letdown that we're experiencing now after Christmas, they just went on with their ordinary lives. I wonder if Mary knew how brief her relationship would be with Joseph and with Jesus. Maybe she did, but lifespans in that time were much shorter than they are today. And I don't believe that and we have ladies here today who are widows, who've lost their husbands, and I don't believe that Mary was